Hi everyone, this is Kenneth Chu. Welcome to episode 25 of Mother Industrialist live show where we talk about entrepreneurship, parenting, and life. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the power of feminine. And today I have this really great special guest. She's the author of Create a Legacy of Love. She's a speaker. She's also a marketing consultant, entrepreneur, and also a single mom of 2 children. So without further ado, let us welcome Catherine.
Hi.
Hi Catherine. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on to my show today, and I'm really blessed to have you. We have a few sessions before this actual show, and it was really a good catch up, and also to share of today's topic. And before we kickstart the show, there's a tradition which is the question of the day that every guest get to post out to the audience and also to the next guest. So are you ready with the question of the day before we kickstart the show?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the question of the day from the previous guest is, when was the last time that you felt proud of yourself as a mom, and why? So I repeat again, the question of the day is, when was the last time that you felt proud of yourself as a mom, and why? So give some time to think about it while I go onto our Facebook Live and check if we are connected successfully and if our audio are good to go. Okay? So I'll come back to you. Okay? So let me just check if we are live successfully. Okay, we are live successfully. Okay, I see some friends coming on live. Hi. Okay, let's see. Okay, I can hear myself. Wow, okay. Now let's see. Okay, your turn. Wow, it seems that I talk a lot. Okay, where is yours? Okay, loud and clear. So for those who are coming on live, thanks for coming on live. And if you can hear us, give us some thumbs up so we know that you guys can hear us. So I see Anastasia coming in. I see Tarini coming in. Hi everyone. Hi, thanks for supporting. Hi. So for those who are in, let us know where you are from and where you are tuning in, and give us some thumbs up or heart. Thanks, Anastasia. So, Catherine, are you ready with your answer to the question of the day?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm always pretty proud of how I do, even when I feel like I'm in the midst of failure. I don't know. I'm pretty proud of who I am as a mom. I think my kids are learning by example. I'm very human, so I make a lot of mistakes with them, but I freely admit that always. And I mean, just this morning, as you know, I had all this problem with my own computer, and then I had problems trying to get online with you via my phone. So I got my son to step in and help me get on with his computer, and the whole while I want to he's calming me down.
Wow.
And I think that he, they're learning from me through osmosis. And I'm aware of that all the time, how much they're absorbing constantly. So I try to be very conscious of that. So I guess I'm always really pretty proud of them. And proud of me as a mother. I guess I feel like I'm a very conscious mom, aware that they're watching my every move.
That's good.
I don't know how else to answer that.
Yeah, that is really very good, because you being the role model and showing them, and like you mentioned, like before we kickstart this show, basically everything was not right, like your computer, your phone, and now you're using your son's desktop, which is like you were saying that he was calming you down, like, hey mommy, let's cool down, and my desktop is ready for you, and immediately, like within, I would say, less than a minute, he got everything set up, Zoom and stuff like that, and we got
Yeah,
connected. That is
I made him leave
amazing.
for school,
Yeah,
but
and
you know what? That's okay.
yeah, and that is something that you should be proud of. And I would say the last time is like today and currently you having you on the show. So that is a really, really good answer to the question of the day. And now we can officially kickstart with the show. So I see a lot of our friends that they are live. So maybe for those who are on live, thank you for coming on and thanks for making time. And who are Catherine's friend, you can just give us some hearts so that we know. So who are my friends? You can give me some thumbs up. So now we can kickstart with the show. So Catherine, for
Yes.
can you do a short introduction of yourself, especially for those who are new to you and for those who are watching it as a replay, or for those who are watching on YouTube, and even for those who are listening, because I'm putting this onto podcast, audio podcast at the same time too. So maybe you can do a short introduction of yourself. What were you doing prior to your current business? And what were your background and what were you doing all the while in your business? Yeah.
Well, I've been an entrepreneur myself since I was 26, which
Wow.
is more than half my life, and we'll just leave it at that. I always knew I wanted to be a mother, even before I was married. So I knew that if I was going to raise my own kids, I had to have my own business. I always wanted to work out of my home. So when I was 26, I started a marketing consulting business and still do that. It's been, a long time, but I still have my marketing consulting business. And, my background really wasn't in marketing. It's just that I had worked for a company where I saw a need and I decided to fill it by starting my own company. And it's all about follow-up services. It's all about ensuring that my clients keep their own clients' loyalty. It's all about follow-up services.
Yep.
So that their clients stay loyal to them. And we work behind the scenes, making them look really good to their clients so that they have maintained loyalty. And I work mostly with real estate companies on that level. But the truth is I'm winding down from that business because there's no challenge left in it for me. I'm frankly getting a little bit bored with it. So I've always been an author at heart. And 5 years ago, I had a dream. I awoke from a dream and I had a very clear picture. It was as if God spoke to me himself, honestly. I had a very clear picture of this book that needed to be written. And I woke up and said, okay, challenge accepted. And I got to work on it, and it's taken me quite a while because in the meantime, I've gone through a whole bunch of transitions myself, including divorce and moving several states away and still being a single mom who are, with teenagers now. There's a lot of work that goes into that. So I started writing, and it was a slow process, but the book's done now, and I'm getting close to launching it.
Wow.
And this whole new business concept is coming up as a result. I'm getting downloads of great ideas and ways to make this business a whole new thing. So I'm starting over, but I'm using a lot of the same skill sets, and a lot of my experiences are really playing into it. It's really the same thing. When you run a business, you're still doing a lot of the same things. You have to sell yourself. You have to be creative with your ideas. And all the while, I'm still prioritizing being a mom, though, for sure.
Wow. That brings me to something that we share a lot of things in common. Like you're a marketing consultant, I'm also a marketing consultant, and
Yes, I know.
you started as a marketing consultant not because of really coming from the background. Like for me, I started from sales, media sales, because I've worked with a lot of marketers, and that gave me a lot of experience with with working with marketers from MMC, multinational company, and also small medium enterprise. And also we are both speaking also a speaker, and also
And author.
an author of the same publisher from
Yes,
Black Card Books,
exactly.
and that is really really
Yes.
amazing. And also entrepreneur. So in fact, we share a lot of things in common. And you were saying about like you receive a calling or the purpose. Even like for myself, like for me when I wrote, in fact it's not really I wrote the book. It's basically God guided me and just connected me with mompreneurs like you. And in fact, in my past 9 years, I was connected with a lot of mompreneurs because of the first job that I was having in the media industry, which is advertising sales exec in a parenting magazine. So that's how everything started. So we have a lot of things in common. We are both parents. So that is really really good. And this also brings us to something that we felt very in sync, especially today's topic, which is the power of feminine. And it may sound a bit weird for coming in from a guy, from a man, from a husband, from a dad, but I guess in our past few conversation through Zoom, I realized that we share um, a lot of common thoughts about the feminine, the masculine part. So maybe you can share with us, like to share with us what is the difference between masculine and feminine. Is it something like man equates or is equal to masculine, and women equals to feminine? Is that so? Maybe you can share with the audience out here.
Yeah, I would love to. It's a subject I'm really passionate about. Um, it doesn't necessarily relate to my businesses. It relates to how I operate in my businesses, though. And it came about in one of our previous conversations,
Yep.
and we decided that it's a great subject matter.
Yes.
But let me start by emphasizing that when I talk about masculine, I may say man, and when I talk about feminine, I may say woman, but what I'm referring to is energy. Most 90% of women are born with a feminine core essence, and 90% of men are born with a core masculine essence. And there are more and more people who are questioning that we have differences, but I'm here to tell you that the differences are massive.
Wow.
And I believe that a feminine's weaknesses are masculine's strengths, and vice versa. And we're meant to be coupled. Feminine and masculine are polar opposites, and it's that polarity that creates the juice in a relationship. So the more opposite the two are, I think the juicier, the sexier, the more dynamic the relationship can be. Yeah. But in a nutshell, if you were to liken masculine to a city, for instance, you would say that masculine is New York City, whereas feminine is Hawaii. Just to give you sort of a
that is a very like what you say is like very opposite, like almost exactly opposite of it.
Completely, right? And both of them are fantastic, but they're very different for different reasons. Masculine they come from their head. They're thinkers, they're doers, they're linear, focused, concentrated, whereas feminine comes from her heart. She's a being, not a being, not doing. She's flowing. She is she's ever changing. There is nothing about her that is even consistent. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, and also at the same time compassionate and nurturing.
Oh, very much. Very compassionate. In fact, her focus is really love and nurturing.
Yep.
And she's open. She gives life. dances with joy. She's radiant. She is patient. She is, she's the light. Whereas masculine is directional. He's the guide. He cuts through obstacles. He stops at nothing to achieve his goals. And in business, he focuses on the bottom line, whereas she focuses on what is good for the whole, what is good for people, and how does this benefit those that it serves. You can see how both are very, very necessary in business. The masculine being completely focused on the bottom line, the feminine being focused on how does this best serve the greater good, right? Both are necessary. So in business, we all have both energies in us. We all have masculine and feminine energy. The thing is, where do we choose to live? Do we live? I'm choosing to live in my feminine energy as much as possible. There are days when I forget I'm feminine because I need to be focused. I need to concentrate. I need to, frankly, get some shit done. And so it's a conscious choice, though, that today I'm going to wear my big girl pants. I'm going to get some stuff done. But as soon as the kids get home, I want to take the big girl pants off. I want to get back to love and nurturing and openness and the femininity. So I think we need to be conscious of that all the time. I liken it to I live in my femininity. I visit my masculinity on a conscious level. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So how does the feminine energy comes in the men for guys? How does it comes into? Because if let's say for guy, if let's say they have, because you were saying that like for women you have 90% natural the feminine energy, but how about the remaining 10%? Is that what you mentioned, like the choice of having the masculine side because you because of business, because of work, you need to get things done, and that's where the masculine come up. So how is it different from for the guy? Is it the same or is it for the men?
They also have both energies, and they have, men can be just as nurturing and loving and open as a woman can be. When I talk about choosing to be in an energy, what I'm saying is that the focus can be very much the energy you're born with at your core. But a man can be as good of a parent, just as nurturing. It's just that if he lives in a feminine place, he might find himself being a little bit unsettled, a little bit unhappy, because his truth, his mission is being suppressed. He's not going after it. He's not. So there can be an unsettledness, an unhappiness, a discontentment. Same with a woman who's living in her masculine energy. I'm not sure I'm answering your question, though.
Yeah, it does, because like you will say that majority of the men and women out there, they have their natural born energy, which is, let's say for the man, it will be 90% of them will have the masculine energy, masculine energy, and for women, they will have the 90% natural feminine energy in them. So is that cases like in even in your life that there are men who have 90% feminine energy, and for women they have 90% masculine energy? Or it's a choice like what you mentioned?
We both have both energies, but we are, if you will witness a 4-year-old.
Mm.
A 4-year-old boy, for instance.
Yeah.
He's gonna be drawn to weapons. He's gonna be drawn to fighting, and he's a warrior in his own head. You can try to deny. There's a lot of, for instance, I had a friend whose son, they didn't want him to be around any sort of guns. They thought that was, you know, instilling violence. So they kept him away from things that were quote unquote boy toys,
yeah.
you know, masculine toys. They wanted him to be gender fluid more. Well, that little kid took his graham crackers and chewed him into a gun. He would do it. It's just their natural inclination. You know, my daughter at 4 years old, she was dancing. She was a princess. She was singing. She couldn't help herself. You will see a small child. They're very closely connected to their core. They are living in their core energies. And what happens is we get our culture builds up these layers. We learn how to, like, women get rewarded for our masculine endeavors, for instance. We're rewarded for being successful in our careers. Men are rewarded for being nurturers at home, for being stay-at-home moms. So we build up some layers where it gets confused. What is masculine? What is feminine? We get sort of separated from our cores. And I think it's important. All I'm saying is it's important to stay conscious of what we were meant to be on this earth. What our core energies are, where we can be most passionate and bring the most power to our day-to-day lives.
Yep.
So when I say the power of feminine, which is the subject of the day here, what I mean by that is there is no other powerful being on earth than a woman who is strong in her femininity. When you think about it, you take the most masculine male leader, who's the one person on earth that can bring him to his knees. It's a feminine woman, because he feels her light and her radiance, and she's the one who's coming from her heart, and her heart is where the truth lies. And so when we're coming at motherhood or our businesses, just our day-to-day lives, when we're coming from our hearts, we're coming from a place of strong intuition. The truth lies in our hearts. So we're the ones who have it going on if we can stay in that feminine presence. And the truth is that men, their DNA, it's instilled in them to serve feminine. Does that make sense? His masculine is very much created to serve feminine. So from a business perspective, if we come at a business relationship feminine to masculine, we're going to be so much more powerful if we come at it from a feminine place, where we're coming from our truth. We're looking at their needs. We're able to see them sometimes before they do, because we're open and we're receptive to what it is that they're communicating. Does that make sense? If we come at them with our masculine energy, we're just a competitor. Come at them with our feminine energy, there's something in them that is willing and ready to serve.
Like you mentioned, that if you go hard on it as masculine versus masculine, it's like two same poles hitting each other, and that they repel, and that does not work in any relationship, and it also does not work in any business dealing and stuff like that. And that also brings us to what is the true femininity of a woman, or a person, or a human being, right?
What is true femininity?
Yes.
Oh, that is, well, true femininity is all about looking at the benefits of others. She's very selfless, although she is confident enough in her own skin that she absolutely understands the line that she should not cross, which is where she gives away too much. That's the danger. That's a weakness of feminine, is giving away too much because you're so concerned with others' need. So a strong feminine is going to be aware of that line and be very conscious of her own needs as well. I want to read to you, something that really has always sort of driven it home for me as a visual. This is, I live among the Lakota Sioux Native Americans, and I have a high respect for their forefathers and their culture. And this
Hi everyone, welcome back. So sorry about the technical problem. I just lost connection, but now we are back. So thanks for waiting and welcome back. So welcome back, Catherine. Yeah. So we just yeah. I
was
guess
weird.
yeah, it's okay. Things happen. But it's always good to come back again. And just now you were sharing about you had something to share with us.
Yeah. So I came across this metaphor which describes the organic relationship between man and woman, and it's expressed through Lakota Sioux folklore. And this image was received by Lakota Sioux Henry Houston. So I want to read it to you because I love this visual. The vision is one of the beautiful wild mare taking flight freely through the open plain, her mane whipping in the wind. The strength of her powerfully sculpted legs merge with the earth, majestically creating its own drumbeat in tribute to Source. She is pure and primal expression of creative power. What is possible for her becomes totally transformed when her beloved is riding her, the masculine strength who knows and honors her power. She's the mare, he's the rider. It's through his surrender to her that he is able to become one with her. His masterful leadership and understanding of her raw power, her desires and her vision guides and directs the powerful energies in a manner that manifests the greatest good for the unified collaboration. He harnesses the energy into a purposeful end for both. He does not fear or compete with her magnificent power. Through surrender and union, he experiences his true nature beyond the world of form, and this unleashes his own spiritual power. He is free. She gratefully surrenders to his leadership, for it grounds her, stabilizes her energy, and allows for its manifestation on the physical plane. Both are empowered by the union. Still, each of them stands sovereign in his or her own power. Out of the balanced unity is created a third force, a natural flow of synergistic energy between them that combines their individual wholeness into an infinitely expanded wholeness together. All of creation joins in the celebration of this divine union. And here's the thing. This is the way God created us to be, masculine and feminine. And our culture has gotten so far away from it. And that's another subject probably for another day. But I blame the fact that we've gotten away from it for the reason we have a 65% divorce rate in our country. Is because men have forgotten how to be men, women have forgotten how to be women, and we come together in this gray androgynous area, and equality has done a lot to kill the passion in our relationships. So while we're equal in ways such as socially, politically, economically, yes, we need to be equal in those ways. But in all the other ways, no, we have our roles. We have our strengths, we have our weaknesses. And if we just acknowledge those and learn to trust the other opposite energy to fill the weakness that we may have, we would all be better off.
Yeah,
We would
definitely.
perhaps create the whole, the yin and the yang, right,
Yes, yes,
Ken?
and yeah, like we mentioned before, like like the masculine and the feminine, masculine and feminine energy basically is like what in Asia we talk about the yin and yang. It's like what the Tai Chi is a round circle, and the black and white, it has to come together as a whole, and as we shared previously, the yin and yang or the masculine and feminine is have to come together to become
Yes,
a circle, then it became a whole. So
correct.
that's where
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's where you share that a lot of times we are breaking it up because we want to be the masculine, and what the other party want to be the masculine, and that's where it's just like poles coming together and repel. But if it's like the north pole and the south pole, it will comes together, it will attract each other. So that's why a lot of times, like you mentioned, that uh, the female or the women are taking a lot of masculine. The reason why, and I also observed in the past 10 years when I work with mompreneurs especially, I see that there are times that they are more masculine because women nowadays, especially in developed countries, they are more educated, and when you are more educated, they have the ability to earn a living, and also ability to earn an income and support the family, which is a role that in the past the man used to be the hunter, the person that go out to hunt and bring the bread back. So now both parties, the husband and wife, they are bringing this bread and butter back, and that's where a lot of times, if let's say the masculine energy in both, right, is so strong, they will just keep on hitting, and in the end, when you know that if two persons fight together, it ends up injuries, a lot of blood shed, and all that stuff. So that is what, like you mentioned, like why is the divorce rate is increasing. This could be one of the factor, but definitely there will be a lot of other conditions and also other underlying below that. But I would say it could be because of the energy that crashes together, and both of them are very independent, very driven, and all that stuff, because it's all for the family, I would say that. So is that what you also felt?
Well, I feel like there's a lot of dissatisfaction because there's a lot of I don't know examples that I'm witness to. I almost see more examples of more masculine women with a more feminine man, and you know what, that can work. That can
Yep.
work.
Yep.
But in a lot of them, there's a general underlying dissatisfaction.
Hmm.
They may not be conscious of it, but the female is likely wanting to be with a man who's
Hmm.
more in charge, who's more
Yep.
of a guide, more of a leader.
Hmm.
Um, and the male in the situation is missing his mission in life.
Hmm.
It's very important to a man to have a purpose and a mission, and to go for that.
Yep.
So there can be a lot of dissatisfaction, even though there might be some polarity.
Hmm.
You know, in the 50s, I think prior to that, there was, you know, if we just make this a cartoon caricature and really generalize, completely generalize, you might see a couple pre-50s as, he's the breadwinner, she's the housewife.
Hmm.
He makes all the rules, she abides by them. She's submissive, he's macho, and
Hmm.
that's a negative as well.
Yep.
Um, the pendulum swung too far, though, when women, I think, when
Hmm.
women decided to burn their bras, and men got a little too in touch with their feminine sides by
Hmm.
letting their hair grow long, and getting in touch with nature and smoking a lot of weed, and they the pendulum needed to swing for sure.
Yep.
But I'd like to see it go back to where women own their femininity, but
Hmm.
the stronger side of it, where we are really in touch with the truth and our
Hmm.
intuition, and concerned with the greater good,
Mm.
and all about love
Yep.
and nurturing. And men are focused on guiding them and being leaders and role models.
Yep.
You know, you and I talked in our last conversation about how few great role models there are out there
Yep.
for both masculine and feminine. And we did decide that the reason why there's not a lot of feminine role models is
Yeah.
because feminine really doesn't need the spotlight.
Correct. They're always like behind the scene.
Feminine just
They're
doesn't,
always supporting. They're always
they're
behind
the
doing.
wind beneath the wings.
Yes, yes,
You know, the wind beneath the wings.
yes.
Um,
Like there's always a saying, like I do not know whether is it very common in the western part, like for Eastern in Asia, we always say that behind every successful man there's always a very supportive woman. That like even for myself personally, I have a very supportive wife, that she's always very supportive when I start into entrepreneurship, when I start my business, even coming out with a book, writing a book about mothers and stuff like that. She's always there to support me, and I felt being appreciated, being supported, and that brings out that masculine taking charge, and on all that, and she being bringing out her feminine in terms of supporting, nurturing, because before all this happened, in fact we are basically the other way, which is like the other side of the pendulum, which is me more on the feminine side, having more of the nurturing, patient, supportive, compassionate, while for her she's more driven, more want to get things done, and she's always on the head, on the mind. She's not really on the heart. So I guess when I start into stepping into entrepreneurship, because it's entrepreneur is a very driven, very with the mind, really get things done. So when I'm in that mode, she has to be that the other side of the equation, which is being more feminine, more nurturing, more compassionate, for me supportive. So when that happens, I see that there's a balance. So it is not really, I would say that either side of the equation is good, just that if let's say for couple, they have to be balanced, and the most important thing is to have to embrace and appreciate the other party. And you really bring it out that when a woman embrace their true femininity, it's really really powerful. Like I couldn't imagine that my wife could be so supportive in me going through all these trenches and doing what I want to achieve, and really supportive. And I would say that a lot of friends was like, wow, your wife is really very supportive. And even for my wife's friend, they say, hey, if my wife can be supportive, like for her male colleagues, like my wife can be more supportive like you, for me to venture into my dreams, that would be very really good. So that is one thing that I also realized, that which is what brings us to talk about the power of feminine, which is really important. And I want to understand, like for you, how do you come with this power, and also how does this femininity help you in your business or even in your motherhood? How does this come in?
Well, in motherhood, of course, you know, feminine is very allowing.
Hmm.
Feminine is allowing, whereas masculine is you know, suggesting, more assertive, more aggressive.
Mm-mm.
So, you know, one thing that I'm aware of as a mother is the importance of allowing my children to learn, and by making their own mistakes, by having independence. Um, that's beyond the loving and the nurturing.
Hmm.
You know, but I'm I've got to be masculine and feminine with my kids because
Hmm.
I'm mom and dad. So, but I have to be conscious of when
Yeah,
to be which.
correct.
Because I also have to, you know, lay down the law
Hmm.
sometimes, and I have to direct them as well.
Hmm.
So, but I guess just being conscious of it,
Hmm.
when to harness which energy at
Yep.
any given time is a very key element.
Hmm.
In business, I did same thing. I have to know when to harness which energy. But I would say in a sales situation, if
Hmm.
I'm sitting across from a man, especially,
Hmm.
and as in a sales position, I'm listening to their needs. I'm drawing out what it is that they need so that I can fulfill that need.
Yep.
And if I'm in my feminine energy, what I'm doing is I'm not looking at my own bottom line.
Yep.
I'm not concerned with that. I'm concerned with making sure that I'm hearing
Hmm.
what their needs are, and I'm here to serve and fulfill those needs for them. And that's going to come across in
Yep.
a sales situation. They're going to see that that is my goal,
Yep.
and they're going to trust that
Which is
that
very
I have
important.
their best interests at heart.
Yes, which is very
So
important in sales. Yeah.
sales is a much easier gig for me when I come at it from a
Feminine.
perspective, because the money will then follow. The bottom line will take care of itself
Yep.
if I truly have their best interests at heart.
Yep.
And there's also been times where I've listened to their needs and I've said, I'm not the right girl for the job for you.
Yep.
And they appreciate that as well. And we both saved ourselves a lot of time, you
Yep.
know, by me
Be
um,
head on
trying to
and
trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It's not necessarily my job to fulfill that need.
yep.
So again, coming at it from an angle of where I'm listening to their needs. It's more heartfelt. It's heart-centered. My intuition is very much what I'm listening to,
Yep.
and what it's just going to come across, and I'm going to do a better job for them,
Yep.
and I'm going to save us both a lot of time by not working with someone that I can't help. But then again, I have to put on my big girl pants, which is my masculine energy,
Yep.
a lot of days, and just get some stuff done, on the other side of the spectrum.
Yes.
It's just being conscious of when do I have to put on the masculine cloak, and when do I put on the feminine cloak?
Yes.
So it's what I would ask and suggest every mompreneur to be thinking about,
Yep.
is how her feminine can be her power center when she needs it, when
Yep.
she needs it the most. I would encourage her to live there and visit her masculine side versus the other way around. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Because it also brings me to why I wrote my book, and the subtitle is about how to perfectly balance between business and motherhood. So it brings like it's like business is very masculine, and motherhood is very feminine. So that's why it's also about the balance. Like for you, you have that balance because you are wearing two hats, like the dad and the mom. Uh, that's where you need to have that balance and that switch. It's like a switch, like you are so in tune to it, you know when to use it. It's because you are conscious of it and you
Conscious.
embrace it. Yeah. And it's like
Yeah.
what like what we mentioned before, it's an option. It's not really option, it's a choice that you made at this point of time. Like when we do sales, like for me, I felt I can resonate because like a lot of my mompreneurs, when I work with them in terms of business, I need to hear them more because they are my clients, they are my customer. So they will have their own thoughts, opinion. Being as a salesperson, most salesperson will be more masculine. They will be like putting their opinion in. They want to show that they are better and stuff like that. But it does not work in really in sales to be a really good salesperson. It's like what you mentioned. We have to listen more, and because if clients trust us more, they will buy from us more, because people buy from
Absolutely.
people who they trust. It works in everywhere. Even if you want to
Absolutely.
walk into a boutique, you want to buy a dress, you have to like the salesperson. Even you love the dress so much, but you get a very crappy salesperson that don't serve you well, the service is not good, you may not get it from the person. But if the person treat you nice, good morning ma'am, how are you, stuff like that, do you like this dress, if not I can help you to change. So if your attitude is good, if people trust you, people will buy from you. It's the same thing works, especially as business person, as entrepreneur. We have to be able to have that control, like the masculine, when to be masculine or when to be feminine. So I guess there's a lot of to share about, and I guess we would have to maybe to do it on a later episode because time is really
Oh,
flying really fast. And
yeah.
maybe one thing I'm just curious because for you, how did you step into entrepreneurship? How is it that from the inspiration from your parents or anybody that's around you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. My father is the ultimate entrepreneur.
Hmm.
He he was a farmer, so I grew up on a farm in South Dakota,
Yep.
USA. Very rural area. It's I've come full circle and I live back here again now. Um, but you know, he truly lived off of the land and made a
Hmm.
living from that, and he worked his tail off doing so. So yes, I would say he was my inspiration.
Wow.
um I wasn't necessarily the consummate country girl.
Hmm.
I rebelled against it for the most part, but I took away a strong work ethic
Hmm.
and the freedom of choice that comes from being an entrepreneur, the
Yeah.
freedom of deciding, you know, for yourself when you're working and when you're taking your breaks,
Hmm.
and that to me is, it's hard for me to imagine anything else.
Yes.
So yes, my parents were definitely my inspiration.
Mm. That which is very good. And now you are inspiration to your children. Like you mentioned that your children are more on the creative side. Although academic wise they are still doing, but you also observe that they are pretty much different because they embrace the creative side. Then and they also know that if they when they graduate and they can still find a job, but alternatively they still can pursue something that they love, like the creative arts and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I'm really proud of my kids because I see in them that they're they're realistic in the ways of the world, but they're still going to be going after their passions.
Hmm.
So my son is passionate about music. He plays guitar. He's
Wow.
passionate about music. So he's making sure he's setting himself up to work in that industry.
Hmm.
You know, he wants to love what he does and make a living at it at the same time. My daughter's very creative, very artsy. She's also realistic that, you know, starving artist is a realism. It's a more than a cliche. It's a fact.
Yeah, it's
So,
reality
but she's setting
practical.
herself
Hmm.
up to work in an industry where she can be creative and she can
Hmm.
use her skills so that she loves what she's doing. And I think that's the best piece of it, is love what you're doing,
Yes.
because success will come, right?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
That's
And
my
and
no.
especially
The
now I would
success
say
will
that,
come.
yeah, I would say that being good at what they are and being passionate of what they are at is much more important because if you look at it, a lot of fresh graduates, they are it's even more difficult for them to secure a job, especially at this point of time. So I would say that and a lot of jobs currently now are being replaced by a lot of technologies, a lot of artificial intelligence, and a lot of jobs that used to be very popular or very in demand is now have changed because of the industry, a lot of disruption. And I would say it will be very different for even like for my daughters. Now she's 9 years old. Another 10, 20 years down the road, the jobs that is available at her time will be so much different from our time at current state. So that's where in my book Mother Industrialist, I talk about how we can being entrepreneur, being a mompreneur can help your children to plan for their future, to give them a better future, and not just for them, it's also for their children. So being a mompreneur, I would say that it is planning for your children's future. So that also bring us sorry.
Well, and for me, it allowed me to be there for my children,
Yep,
raising them. I could
correct.
choose when I was there. You know, I worked behind the scenes more or
Yes.
less. When they were at school, I did my work. When they went to bed, I got back to work. And I was there for them as a mom. So I
Hmm.
kind of had my cake and ate it too.
Yes.
And I think that raising my kids myself while running my business was one of the most important things I did.
Yeah.
You know,
And
set it up so
definitely
that
it,
I could be there for them. And I think
correct.
that's the real advantage of a mompreneur.
Yes.
She can control her environment
Yes.
so much more than she can if she's got a job
Yes.
where she's away
Correct.
X hours of every week.
Yeah. And what
So,
you share is really important because uh it like being a mompreneur, it gives you a way for you to live life on your own terms,
on
without
your own terms.
correct, on your own terms, and also without worrying about time and money, because you are in control of your time. You can manage your own time because you are your own boss. And because if you work for someone else in the job, your time is your boss's time, or your time is your company's time. You do not have much time for yourself. Imagine you only have so much time for yourself, but if you become a mother, you will have even lesser of your own time. And how would you have even more time for your children? But as a mompreneur or someone who start your own business, you are always in control. And the potential for a business, especially for the income, is the sky, is the stars, or whatever you can put
Correct.
it. There's no cap onto.
Correct.
But in a job, there's always a income cap. And in order to break the income cap, you need to exchange more time for more money, or more responsibility for more income. And that's where I see a lot of working moms are having that struggling in managing that, and also the guilt that is coming into them. And that is also the reason why in my book I want to share with them there's a better way out than just working, and also a better way out for you to be able to spend more time with your children. And now like Catherine, you yourself, you're a very practical example and a very good testimonial to show that you'll be there for your children, especially holding two roles. And that also bring us to very much to the end of coming to the end of the show, because
All right.
I guess we had a really a good chat. And it is
So much
really
more I
one,
could say
yeah,
about
it's so much more. And I would really wish that I could invite you for the later episode. But how does the audience get to connect with you? Maybe you can share with us how can they connect with you.
Well, I have a Facebook page. Is probably the best way right now.
Mm,
Find me on Facebook, Catherine Turner,
mm,
in South Dakota.
mm.
And I've got a couple of websites.
Mm, mm,
Successconceptsonline.com is my marketing business.
mm, mm.
Create a Legacy of Love
Yes.
book.com is going to be where you can purchase my book and learn more about that.
Mm, mm,
It's under construction right now, but you can also email me,
mm,
Catherine at
mm.
successconceptsonline.com, and I would welcome any comments. There's a lot more to come.
Yeah,
I'm just getting all my social media set up
that's
around
good.
my book, which we didn't even talk about.
Yeah.
It's crazy because that's what I've been so focused on lately.
Mm.
But it's something I'm very excited about,
Which
you
is good.
know,
I'm
and
excited for you too, because our book, both of our books most likely will come out about the same time. So
yeah,
which is really awesome.
oh,
And for
no,
those and for those who are watching, and for those who are on live, I will post Catherine's link below in the comment section so that you guys can connect with her. If not, it will be in the description. And last but not least, that at the end of the show, every guest get to post of the question of the day. So Catherine, are you ready with your question of the day
yeah, I
before we
think I have,
end off?
I kind of have a twofold question
Hmm,
of the day here.
which is good.
Um, let me see, I wrote it down. Well, first of all, I do want, I really want women to start thinking about how
Hmm,
they can remind themselves
hmm,
every day that their
hmm.
strength lies in their femininity. How
Okay.
do they remind themselves? For instance, for me, sometimes the first thing I have to do in the morning is jam some really great music and get myself into a more flowy
Hmm,
mindset. versus, you know, a structured, what do I got to do today? If I'm better when I get in a flow. So for me, I associate music a lot with putting me in the right, and I want to say mindset, but I really want to say heart set. I want to get in the right heart space to be getting done what I want to do on from a feminine energy perspective.
So what is the question that you want to post it out to the audience and also to the next guest?
What can you do each day to remind yourself that your strength is your femininity?
Okay, maybe
what
you
can you do
what
today?
can you do?
What can you do each day to remind yourself that your strength is your femininity?
To remind yourself that your strength is your femininity. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Let me just repeat again, just to make sure that I get it right. So, the question of the day posted by Catherine is, what can you do each day to remind yourself that your strength is your femininity? Is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
And related to that, Kenneth, is, you know, what is my intuition telling me? What is my intuition? What is my heart telling me?
What is my heart and intuition telling me? Okay.
Yeah. It's a question they can ask themselves when presented with any question. What is my intuition telling me? What is my heart telling me? Come at it from a heart space is what I'm saying, as opposed to a head space.
So that is a two question, right? That you posted that, which is good.
Let's just go with the first one. Go with
the other one is just for them to think about it. So the question of the day out to the audience, for those who are coming on live, do post your comment below. I would also post Catherine's question of the day in the comment section so that you guys can reply on it and send us your answers, and me and Catherine will be very, very happy to see your answer coming in. So her question of the day is, how can you do each day, what can you do each day to remind yourself that your strength is your femininity? So this is a question of the day posted by Catherine. I'll post it below so that you guys can be able to send in your answers in the comment section. And last but not least, Catherine, any last advice for the mothers who are sitting on the fences thinking whether they should step into entrepreneurship or they should pursue their passion? So what is your last advice for them?
Oh, wow. You don't even hesitate. But at the same time, I know that it's overwhelming. I know that it's a big bite to chew, but take it one step at a time. Chunk it down, take it one step at a time. Move one foot in front of the other, and just every day do something that puts yourself a little bit closer to your goal.
Wow.
Chunk it down, though. Yes. Don't let the overwhelm get to you, because that is easy to have happen. The whole project seems so overwhelming that it's easier just to keep doing what's comfortable. Get out of your comfort zone.
That's right. That is such a very, very good get out of the comfort zone. So for mothers out there, I hope Catherine's advice does really struck you. If you like what she shared, and this episode, do give us more thumbs up or more hearts, so that we will be able to share more love out to more mothers. And last but not least, so do click on the link below, which is www.motherindustrialistbook.com, and that's where you can get a free copy of my downloadable book. And in my book itself, there's a lot of mompreneur stories like Catherine's, like a lot of mompreneurs that I personally know, that is documented, that is featured in the book, that you can get yourself inspired, especially for the mothers out there. Even for parents who want to start a business, you can also read the book itself. So last but not least, Catherine, thanks a lot for coming onto my show. Today is really, really a very fruitful and empowering session with you, and I thank you really for everything that you have shared. Yep.
One last quote for me, okay? If you're not scared shitless, you're not on the right track.
Wow, thanks a lot, Catherine. So Kenneth here, thanks everyone for tuning in, And thanks for those who are watching on live, those who are watching replay, and for those who are listening to us. So thanks everyone. Thanks for watching this episode. And Kenneth here signing off with Catherine. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Bye.
Thank you everyone. And I
Thanks,
see you
Kenneth.
guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye bye.